Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
This idea that awards and award ceremonies and these extrinsic rewards need to be given, merit awards or whatever they are, is just so toxic.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
Oh, we have got a doozy of a listener question this week. I love this question. I'm so excited that it's come through. It's come through from Lisa. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Justin.
And I'm Kylie.
And we're the parents of 6 daughters, aged from 7 through to early 20s. And I'm the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. And this is the Happy Families podcast. Every Tuesday, we answer your questions. Can I read the question?
Go for it.
I'm so excited. Lisa has said, hi, I'm just after your thoughts and advice. My daughter never gets school assembly awards, but she lives by the graduate outcomes of respect, achieve, etc., at school and definitely at home. She's disappointed and confused and wonders why they can't make it fair and why some kids have got the award twice. I get that kids need to learn disappointment, and I have told her that not everyone gets a prize, but how do I say it in a way that she'll get it and be happy in her own skin and help her to accept that she is good enough? I love this question, Lisa. Oh, I've got some things to say.
Yeah, I think you've opened a whole can of worms, Lisa.
So what do you reckon, honey, before I dive in? Because obviously my plate is full of things that I can talk about here. Our kids go to schools where there are awards because it's kind of what happens in school, full stop, end of story. It's very hard to find a school where it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, and obviously with such a huge age range of children, we've experienced lots of different ways of rewarding our children at school.
All of them, which I'm opposed to, by the way.
Yes.
Every single one. I hate them all. And I'm probably not telling you how strongly I feel about it enough when I say I hate them all.
But the latest one has really, it's really in your face.
Oh, gee, I hate this one.
So the school that the kids go to at the moment, they have a gold behaviour standard. So they have a behaviour chart in every classroom. And you have gold standard, silver, bronze, and then you're below the ladder.
Wow.
And the children actually have to move themselves along that ladder depending on their behaviour.
So everyone can see where every child is.
Everyone can see it. And that, each individual child has to move their own.
Our kids are going to a school where this happens.
Yep,
I didn't even know this.
So the culminating impact of this is that every day it's recorded whether or not they're a gold standard child.
Right.
If they are a gold standard child for 12 months consecutively, they are awarded a gold hat. So when we moved to the school at the beginning of term 4, I saw all of these kids at the school with gold hats. Well, I went to buy uniforms and the kids wanted a gold hat because all their friends had a gold hat, and I couldn't find these gold hats. I had no idea about the system or what this was all about. So I had to buy them a blue hat. Well, when you go to the school, you have to spot a blue hat. It's a very, very obvious that you're not part of the group.
Wow.
And so it wasn't until we'd been at the school for probably a month and a half or so, I made friends with one of the mums and we got talking about it, and I discovered what the gold hat was all about. Her children had been gold standard children for 3 terms. At the end of term 3, they actually pulled their children out to go on a trip around Australia. And as a result, their children didn't receive a gold hat because they hadn't been at school for 4 terms.
Well, they weren't gold standard then. If they're not at school the whole time, they can't be gold standard.
Meantime, our child had been a gold standard student for the entire term 4 and then had to sit in the awards ceremony for all of the children who would receive their gold standards, and she couldn't understand why.
They all got gold hats and she didn't get one because she'd only been a gold student for a term because she'd only been at the school for a term.
Yeah.
So I hate. Just, I'm sitting here listening to you say this, and
it's devastating. It really is.
I didn't actually know. So our kids go to a public school, but private schools do this as well. But our kids go to the public school down the road, and I didn't know that this is what they're subjected to. And I'm just so. To any teachers from the school that our kids go to who are listening, it's not a personal thing. I don't dislike you. I'm grateful for what you do for our kids. Any teacher who's listening, I'm so grateful for teachers. They're extraordinary. But this idea that awards and award ceremonies and these extrinsic rewards need to be given, merit awards or whatever they are, is just so toxic. You know what? I'm hearing the gold hat story and comparing this with Lisa's situation where she's got a daughter like ours who would be the gold standard, but just hasn't been picked. And I'm thinking, well,
the justification is you can't give everyone one, right?
Well, yeah, because then the people come out of the woodwork saying, oh, you know, kids these days, everyone gets a prize. Can't have everyone getting a prize.
We can only give 2 awards this term.
Yeah, which I just think is, and oh gosh, but I'm thinking about the kids that don't get it. Not only the kids who like ours or like Lisa's child who have done really well, but there are practical or logistical reasons why they're not being awarded the gold hat or the gold star or the merit award. But I'm thinking about the kid who has a lousy day at school or comes from a family that is disadvantaged or struggling or has ADHD or is on the spectrum, or a kid who, for whatever reason, is just not doing that well at school. And every single day and it's usually a boy, sometimes it's a girl, but statistically it's more likely to be a boy, watches all the other kids move their markers to gold and he or she moves to silver or bronze or doesn't even get to move it at all.
Yeah, but you could ask any child in a class and they'd be able to tell you who the below the ladder student is.
Yep.
And they'd be able to tell you why.
Right.
You know, and the perception that creates on that child and the way not only do their peers treat them,
but the teachers possibly
treat them.
When I talk to teachers honestly about this, I mean, every now and again I'll go meet teachers who are like, oh no, they're the students that I give much more love to, much more attention to, and I believe many teachers when they say that, I really do. But a lot of teachers have also said my perfect answer is that I do it, but the reality of being in a class and dealing with everything is it's really hard to give those students that need it the most everything that they do actually need. And I look at it and I think what this does is it promotes anger and resentment, which is what Lisa's daughter is experiencing. It's obviously what ours experienced, what the mum that you talked about experienced. And any parent who's got a child, particularly a non-neurotypical child, would be watching their kids absolutely burn with anger and resentment and a sense of unfairness.
Defeat. What's the point?
What's the point? And this is why
I'm a good person and nobody notices me, so what's the point?
And kids start to hate school, and it's because of these extrinsic motivators. I've got so many things that we need to talk about, but our time is already running out. This is what happens when we get
passionate.
When you get me started on one of these topics. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about why this is a problem and what we can do about it as parents, especially for Lisa.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership, because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. And hopefully today, Lisa, once Justin gets off his soapbox, we might actually give you some answers on how you can help your daughter.
Well, I'm not on a soapbox. I'm on my research box. I'm talking about what the data tells us. So here's what we know from research. When it comes to kids who get awards at school, every now and again, it's the kids who are standouts, right? The kids who are absolutely the top of the tree, they definitely get their fair share of awards, if not more. And most people would say, well, that's only right. That's only fair. They are absolutely the very best students. But you know who else gets the awards the most?
Who?
It's the kids that the teachers feel need a boost. But here's what the research shows. You get a kid who is, to go back to the gold hat, the gold, silver, bronze, and then the below the ladder thing, the kids who are below or the kids who are on bronze, and then they start getting awards. And you know what the kids all, including the one who gets the award, start to think? They think, you're just doing this to make me feel better about life because I'm not actually very good. But there's this huge cohort right in the middle that doesn't get anything at all. So it becomes an exercise in cynicism. There's a whole bunch of kids that just give up and say, I'll never get it because I'm not a standout and I'm not a child who's challenging and difficult. And then there's the child who's at the bottom who's going, yeah, but I only got it because you're trying to make me feel good. And what ends up happening is it's not just bad because motivation decreases. It's not just bad because the people who don't get the awards feel lousy, like Lisa's daughter or like our daughter. It's also bad because for the kids who really care about the awards, this turns into a mad scramble to defeat their peers. They see their peers as an enemy.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be better than them so that I can get the award. And I don't like them because they always get the award. It actually gets in the way of good, high-quality relationships.
Well, I know that you could talk for about another I don't know, 3 weeks on this topic.
Probably.
But Lisa wants some answers. How is she going to help her daughter deal with this challenge? Because the reality is she can't actually leave the situation, right? She's at school. This is the school that they're dealing with. And more times than not, no matter what school you go to, you're going to deal with a system of awards.
Yeah.
So how do we help families who are watching their kids get crushed by the award system because they don't get noticed because they're the kids in the middle?
Yeah. So this ties in with what the research tells us. Okay, the research says that awards and rewards teach kids to do whatever they can to get the award, but not actually focus on the process. They're focused on the outcome, not the process. And I guess the fancy way of saying that is that the award is not going to alter the emotional commitment to the underlying behavior, not going to alter the cognitive commitment to the underlying behavior. I don't want to be a good person because it's good to be a good person. I want to be a good person because I'm going to get the Good Citizen School Award. Or I don't want to be to do well academically in class because it's good to do academically. I want to do well to get the award.
Well, we've had a few times where the kids have come home and said so-and-so got an award for, being a good school citizen or whatever, and they're the bully in the school playground.
Yeah, because the teacher's trying to pump up that kid's tyres and change their behaviour that way. I think that the best thing to do, Lisa, is say to your child, what kind of person do you want to be? And does the teacher's evaluation of you affect your understanding of whether you're that person or not? Now, that's a really big idea for a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old to get a hold of. But if we can teach that to our kids, what we're essentially saying is the teacher's giving out awards, but do we care what the teacher thinks, or do we care what we think and what our friends think and what our family thinks? Who do I want to be?
Well, I know as a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, my teacher was more important to me than my parents at some point. They knew more than my parents, didn't they?
Well, in your parents' case, yes.
Oh. But my teacher said every 7-year-old ever.
We've grappled with this with our own children. I don't think there's an easy answer except to say the teacher isn't seeing everything, and I'm not interested in how many awards you get. I know you'd like the award. Do some emotion coaching. Winning the award would be amazing. What would you do if you won the award? Would it change anything? And then
I like that question because the reality is having that award's not going to change a thing.
No, you're still the same person whether you win the award or not. So what kind of a person do you want to be? And that's a really hard conversation to have with little kids, but I think that's the conversation that we need to be having.
Well, the great thing is that when you're a good person and you do something good, you feel good about it immediately. You're not waiting at the end of the week to get an award that proves that you're a good person. And if we can help our children to recognise those feelings as they do good things, they actually get an instant reward.
Can I just say, I think that we need to, universally, around the country, we need to cancel awards ceremonies. We need to get rid of merit awards. And if you want to acknowledge kids, rather than having the teachers acknowledge them, wouldn't it be great to have a day where the kids acknowledge themselves and you bring all the parents in from class 1B or 1A or 3G or whatever the class is called, and they have a day where they get to show to their parents or to the school community what they're proud of about themselves.
Oh, I love that idea.
Maybe they've learned how to train a dog to walk on its hind legs, or maybe they've learned how to program a computer or how to build this or do that. And imagine if they could show up in front of the class and show everybody what they're proud of, the stuff that they do outside school, or maybe it's the stuff that they do at school. But if they could talk about what they're proud of that teachers aren't seeing, we get to see the humanity of the kids. We get to see what they care about. We get to see their strengths. I'm proud of this. I reckon that's going to help kids to feel much better about who they are than handing out these little cardboard cutouts that say merit award.
Well, I don't know if it's going to catch on.
Oh, gee, I wish it would.
But I love the idea of being able to see children for their individuality instead of trying to fit them in this little box that school's, school curriculum is all about.
I'm calling for a revolution. Join us. Let's march the streets. Let's close down the schools so we can get rid of award ceremonies. Lisa, I don't know if we answered your question or not, but what an important conversation, even if it's just that we're highlighting the damage that can be done by these awards. Hopefully a conversation with your daughter will improve things a little bit.
If you've got a question that you'd like us to have a conversation about, please send them to podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au.
That's podcasts with an S at happyfamilies.com.au. We might not give you great answers, but we'll definitely talk about the research.
We'll have a great conversation.
We'll talk about what's happened with our kids, and maybe we'll give you some ideas for how to make your family happier. The Happy Families podcast is, as always, produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media with Craig Bruce as our executive producer. If you enjoy our conversations, please leave a rating and review at Apple Podcasts. It's those ratings and reviews that help other people to find out about the podcast, to make their families happier. And if you'd like more info for how you can join us in our Happy Families membership and get access to loads more hints, tips, tricks, hacks, and whatever it takes to make your family function more smoothly and happier, please join our Happy Families membership. You can find the info at happyfamilies.com.au.